All right, guys. So we're going to start here. It's not going to be anything on the screen. I found this on my phone. I just thought it was worth noting. I don't care about celebrity opinions. Some people do. So depending on who ends up watching this after it's publicly released, they might care about this. So Nicki Minaj, of all people, praises Trump Vance in surprise appearance with Erica Kirk at Turning Point Conference, which is interesting. So maybe, you know what? Even though she's put out some degenerate music, maybe she's turning another leaf. You know what I'm saying? So I'll just give you the abridged version of this. Minaj praised President Donald Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance while criticizing California Governor Gavin Newsom. She discussed her political views, including concerns about Christian prosecution in Nigeria. Motivation for political engagement. This is the a couple of the touched upon highlights of what she had to say. Stated she got tired of being pushed around and vowed she would not not back down anymore in expressing her political views. And this is according to the Hollywood Reporter. She noted it is okay to change your mind, acknowledging her past condemnation of Trump's immigration policies. And that's from Click on Detroit. Praise for administration and event context. So Minaj expressed utmost respect and admiration for President Trump, stating he's given so many people hope and calling him handsome and dashing. Probably the most handsome president ever. Like, you've never seen such a handsome president. She praised both President Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance as role models who possess relatability and heart and soul. A source familiar with event planning suggested Minaj's discussion to speak after Charlie Kirk's assassination highlights how his death inspired non traditional conservative figures to express their beliefs boldly. And then she did have some criticisms on cultural views. Minaj criticized California Governor Gavin Newsom for supporting trans kids and referred to him as new scum or Gavnots. She made a faux pas by calling Vice President J.D. Vance the assassin during her advice for young men. Although Erica Kirk defended Minaj's intentions, Minaj also suggested boys are discouraged from masculinity, advocating for boys to be boys, and claimed discrimination against Christians exists in America, which it does. Which it does. I mean, I don't think we're even trying to pretend that that's not the case. So that's the abridged version of what she had to say at the event. So, without further ado, I want to start off the show with another gem from Don't Walk Run Productions, because this, I actually commented on this on one of my accounts. I said, I always think I hate the media enough, and then you put out a video. It's like, that's all I said. And you'll see why quite quickly. Take a look at this.
This is Jake Tapper, the host of The Lead on CNN and the co-author of Original Sin, President Biden's decline, its cover-up, and his disastrous choice to run again. A subject that Jake Tapper curiously didn't cover during Joe Biden's first 3 3/4 of his term in office. But apparently, he's learned his lesson. And now, with President Trump in office, he's going to be extra vigilant, so he won't miss anything this time.
Isn't that the rub, though? Isn't that the rub? The dude was asleep at the wheel during Biden's well, I don't think he was asleep at the wheel. I think they knew exactly what they were doing when Biden was president. But isn't that the rub, though? Like oh no, he's great and healthy and fit, and then he loses the election, and all of a sudden Jake Tapper, he's going to start questioning presidents after Trump wins, and does his little book tour. Oh no, I don't know how, I had no idea. Everybody knew. And now they need an excuse to be able to try to at least appear to be genuine when questioning every little thing about Trump, right? So, yeah, that's he's completely right there. It's just the funniest.
In our politics lead, it's only Thursday, and already it's been a week full of behaviors from President Trump that are unusual, even by his particular standards, the latest example of which is President Trump's primetime address to the nation last night. Such presidential addresses usually carry some weight. One might expect to hear some big news, an announcement of some sort. Instead, the nation heard Trump just rattle on about his accomplishments like he does on any given day, although he just did so faster and louder.
Sorry, Jake, but not every address to the nation can be an angry old man claiming that half the country is a threat to democracy.
We must be stronger, more determined, and more committed to saving American democracy than MAGA Republicans are to destroying American democracy. Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans. MAGA Republicans. Trump and the extreme MAGA Republicans. MAGA Republicans. MAGA Republicans. MAGA Republicans. MAGA forces are determined to take this country backwards.
Much of the content was simply false misstatements that have been fact-checked so often. He must know by now that they're just lies.
All the bad orange man does is lie. But let's take a look at one of those lies. Roll the tape, Jake.
When I took office, inflation was the worst in 48 years, and some would say in the history of our country, which caused prices to be higher than ever before, making life unaffordable for millions and millions of Americans.
So inflation was not the highest in the history of our country when President Trump took over in January 2025. It is true that in 2022, under President Biden, inflation peaked at 9.1%, and that was very high, but it was not the highest ever in the history of our country, and that was 2022.
But actually, Jake, President Trump wasn't saying that the inflation rate in January when he took office was the highest in 48 years. What he was referring to was cumulative inflation. In the 4 years of the Biden administration, inflation rose 21.4%. Trump is comparing the inflation under Biden with the inflation that occurred under the Carter administration, which began, wait for it, 48 years ago. And Jake Tapper knows this. God forbid that anyone at CNN just be fucking honest. On the other hand, when Joe Biden made false claims about inflation, there was very little, if any, pushback. For example, in May 2024, Aaron Burnett interviewed Joe Biden, who made this 100% false claim.
Well, so, but I mean, no president's had the run we've had in terms of creating jobs and bringing down inflation. It was 9% when I came to office. 9%. But look.
And yet, even though Aaron Burnett is on a so-called news network and surely must have known that 9% inflation didn't occur until a year and a half into Biden's term because she lived through it, there was zero pushback. Jake Tapper, who is clearly fond of fact-checking Trump, was oddly quiet when it came to Biden's inflation claims. Here, Jake Tapper previewed that Aaron Burnett interview with Biden and could have easily made a quick comment about Biden's bogus inflation claim, but he didn't.
You can watch her full exclusive interview with President Biden on Aaron Burnett Out Front. That's tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern, only here on CNN. Let's discuss this. CNN's John King is with us, also Megan Hayes, the former White House Director of Messaging and Planning under President Biden. John, let me start with you. Your reaction to President Biden's economic pitch there.
He's right on the numbers about the economic turnaround.
He needs to continue to draw the contrast with President Trump.
So the statistics back up the president's argument that the economy is much better and is growing and is strong, the strongest in the world. He is correct.
So not only was Jake Tapper silent on the issue, but so were his two panelists. I know you're shocked. And if you want to verify that no one pushed back against Biden's claims, you can watch the entire 7-minute segment yourself. Link is in the description. But back to the here and now, where an indignant Jake Tapper is flabbergasted over Trump's presidential walk of fame.
This week, he also took the unusual step of installing plaques along the wall of the White House, the People's House.
No, not the People's House!
With inscriptions on the plaques that insult his predecessors. President Joe Biden, he said, quote, Sleepy Joe.
Now, I just wanted to stop this here because this was one of the big distractions of the past week. I think a lot of people think that this is just out in the White House, and they need to understand that this isn't. This is literally to troll the media. The only people that see this are White House staffers and the media. It's in a hallway between, I don't even remember where. But it basically, the only people that can see this are media and the president and staffers and so on. The public doesn't get to see this. The only reason you're seeing this now is because the media had a meltdown and posted everything all over the internet, and it's freaking hilarious because these are hilarious. And Trump paid for these by his own pocket, by the way, not taxpayer dollars like some have insinuated.
Joe Biden was by far the worst president in American history. And the plaque of President Obama declares Obama one of the most divisive political figures in American history.
Wait, Where's the lie, Jake?
This behavior is not normal, not in a mayor, not in a governor, not in your boss, not in your mom or your dad or your friend. Never before in the history of our country have we had a president who acted this way.
Oh, man. If Trump keeps this up, he's never going to get a third term.
The president has been flouting the hallmarks of basic decency, and while there have been a few of his supporters and a few members of his party and some in the conservative media willing to call him out on some of this, for the most part, let's be honest, it's been crickets.
Gee, you could say the same exact thing about CNN regarding Joe Biden's very obvious mental and physical decline. Because when it comes to news networks, CNN is cricket central. So if you watched President Trump's address to the nation, it was pretty standard Trump. But Jake Tapper went into full gaslighting mode.
Dr. Jonathan Reiner, who served as the late Vice President Dick Cheney's cardiologist for years, was among the many observers alarmed by what he saw from President Trump last night, his behavior. He posted on X, quote, "I'm seriously concerned about the health of the president," and adding, "No one should be happy to see the president like this. He looks unwell."
And you know that the CNN doctor is serious because he's wearing a lab coat.
Dr. Reiner, what specifically was it about President Trump that you found so concerning watching him last night, especially in the context of, you know, he gives outrageous speeches and has been for years?
Well, it wasn't the content.
Exactly, Cheryl. You know what? This dude has been almost shot at a second time. He's been attacked on stage, if you recall, a few times because of their rhetoric. He's been smeared with fake scandals, one after another, after another, after another. If the dude wants to put up plaques with his own money that make fun of these idiots that were behind most of this, I'm for it. I love it. And the fact that the media got so triggered that now the entire country has seen the plaques, they wouldn't have seen them without the media. Just keep that in mind. The chick that looks like Scott Pressler from CNN went ahead and marched through and made a whole segment out of it as well. So, yeah. And don't forget, if you guys want to invite people that I didn't invite on here, feel free. That's perfectly fine. Feel free to share the link with anybody you think would be interested.
I thought the content was just standard fare that we've become accustomed to, but it was the way it was delivered. It was delivered in with a manic cadence, almost a frantic cadence.
But was it though? Was it really a manic cadence? Here's a clip.
We're putting America first, and we are making America great again. Very simple. We are making America great again. Tonight, after 11 months, our border is secure. Inflation is stopped. Wages are up.
I'm going to tell you what was so different about this speech than his other speeches. He was on live TV, right? So he followed the script. He's not used to following the script, guys. And despite that, he pulled it off. And he knew he had to get everything out there because they were going to pull the plug on him at any moment. That's what he was thinking. I think he did great. I really do, considering. He tricked these assholes into think we were going to war with Venezuela to broadcast this. And a lot of people think that, too.
Prices are down. Our nation is strong. America is respected. And our country is back, stronger than ever before.
Trump didn't sound manic or frantic. He sounds forceful. Probably even a little annoyed that he even asked to make this speech at all.
It was as if you felt like you were listening to a podcast on 2X. And that kind of manic delivery was very, very disturbing, very pressurized speech. And as the address went on, the cadence of his remarks became quicker. And we've never seen the president like that. He seemed almost frantic, and it was disturbing to watch.
I mean, if someone knows disturbing speech, it's Dick Cheney's former cardiologist. But when it comes to actual disturbing things, like Joe Biden tripping and falling on a monthly basis, the CNN doctor is not worried at all.
He does seem to struggle to get up when it first happens, then appears to recover. You do see there is a sandbag right there in his path. That's pretty obvious. What's your reaction when you see the whole video?
Well, falls are really common, and they're especially common in the elderly. It's thought that about 1 out of every 4 people over the age of 65 will fall this year. So it's super common.
So according to Dr. Expert here, it's super common for the president to fall on a regular basis. Nothing to see here, guys.
He's fine. The optics are bad, but, you know, he got unlucky and just tripped on the sandbag.
Oh, I see. He's just unlucky. And when Biden fell up the stairs of Air Force One 3 times in a row, probably one of those unlucky sandbags. And when he fell off his bike, it wasn't clumsiness. It was just bad luck. But then Aaron Burnett played a clip of Trump reacting to Biden tripping on stage. And I'm sure you know where this is going.
He's at the Air Force Academy. He actually fell down. Well, I hope he wasn't hurt. I hope he wasn't hurt. But it's the whole thing is, look, the whole thing is crazy. You got to be careful about that. You got to be careful about that because you don't want that. Even if you have to tiptoe down a ramp.
When he's referencing that, of course, Doctor, he's referencing himself, right? He had to walk down a ramp at West Point back in 2020. It was slippery. There was that. He had his own incidents.
Wait. Trump walking slowly down a ramp and not falling was an incident. You don't hate the media enough. But back to Joe Biden falling and or tripping for the umpteenth time. Here's CNN, Doctor, to put your mind at ease.
Does anything about this warrant the questions that, of course, we're seeing predictably in some quarters about his fitness for office?
No, not at all. Look, people have sort of this mistaken opinion that the president is like an astronaut and we're spinning them around in centrifuges to prove their fitness.
Comparing basic cognitive function to astronaut training is the ultimate straw man. We didn't need to see him pilot the space shuttle, but it's not too much to ask to have a president be able to successfully locate the exit off of a stage.
But what we really ask for is mental sharpness and the ability to carry out the duties of his office. And I think the president has shown that.
Biden certainly showed something. Though I'm not sure that mental sharpness is the phrase historians are going to be using for the history books.
And Joan Shingang, I'm going to pronounce it, Shanga Kawawa. I think I pronounced it correctly.
And on that note, that's it for now. If you want,
All right, guys, man, you know, he does a good job at putting this stuff together. I love it. You know, whenever he does a banger, I like to play it. So anyway, so what's been going on this week? Let's see. The Epstein files were released. Trump and team trolled the left and forced them to cry about a cover-up that didn't wind up being there. It was actually quite hilarious, and I called it in advance, just so you know. I don't even remember the video I said it under. I'm like, this is what Trump does. They're going to cry about, you know, how it's a big cover-up, and then they're going to unredact everything, and it'll be nothing. And that's exactly what happened. But we got to get to Eric Swalwell. He's having some meltdowns on X currently. Here he is right here. He's under investigation for mortgage fraud. I don't know if you all know this or remember me talking about this before or heard it elsewhere. But he says, we caught him. They got him again, guys. This is it. Finally, Trump's going down. What's going on? Great reporting here on Trump and team going after me and anyone who speaks out. This shows the allegations against me and others are nonsense. My lawsuit against them is not. Okay, Eric, let's see what you're talking about. They're sharing an article that says exclusive. This is coming from Reuters, one of the most trusted outlets on, you know, the face of the earth. Exclusive. Trump appointee inspired by conservative media outlet to push for probe of Democrat congressman. So what you're saying is that because I think it was Gateway Pundit was like, we're not finding any homes for this scumbag. Let's just say Biden was fun to watch. It was difficult, though, knowing he was supposed to be the president. Yeah. I don't even think that was always Biden. I'm going to be honest with you. But anyway, that's a whole nother show. So basically what happened is the Bill Pulte, he is looking into Eric Swalwell for fraud, mortgage fraud, one of many, and found out that he definitely does not have a residence in California, only D.C., which means he's not even supposed to be a congressman in California. So this is a big thing because it came from the Gateway Pundit. So he says, we got him now, and this is how they got him. Now, how many investigations were done into Trump people because of articles written? How many congressmen have literally said we got to investigate this on Capitol Hill because of articles written. Give me a break, Eric. Then we've got this gem here. This is from today. The one you're looking at right now is not from today. I think that was like yesterday. What is today? Yeah, that was yesterday. So they got him. And then today we go to this. Watch. Save your documents, Pulte. We will see you soon. I don't want Grok to explain anything. Next time, don't come for me unless I call for you. Like he's trying to play a tough guy. And he shares the same article that he shared yesterday, which tells you everything you need to know about Fartwell. He is he's nervous. He knows that they've been looking into his mortgage fraud. He knows they're getting all their ducks in a row. So you can see in comments, hi, Ed Martin isn't threatening Pulte obstruction of justice. Nobody's on this dude's side. Comrade Swalwell, this is a bit creepy. We know that doesn't concern you, but it's still weird. And he shows this video of dude like rapping with this little kid. And then we've got Swalwell released the Swalwell spy files. And then it says here, Democrats want you to focus on extrajudicial killings, but there's a cute family photo instead. But here's a cute family photo instead. Okay, and then we've got this. I mean, the dude's getting his ass handed to him. This one right here, why does Eric Swalwell funnel hundreds of thousands of dollars to a Haitian man? I don't even, that's from Amuse here on X. I wonder how old that is. It says Representative Eric Swalwell can't explain why he continues to funnel hundreds of thousands of dollars to Darley Mayer. Neither Swalwell or his campaign can explain why they have sent Mayer more than 75 payments, including one just last month. Mayers allegedly owns a car service and runs an NGO touting membership of over 3,000 Haitians here in the U.S. What does he really do for Swalwell? Votes. And then somebody shared that. And then we've got Fang and this person's got a list. But you get the gist. So there's Swalwell. He's melting down. He knows that the clock's running out on the investigation into him, and that there's more than likely going to be some problems in his near future, because I'm thinking Swalwell probably knows that he could go buy a house in California and then have that as an excuse, but they already know he didn't have one to begin with. So he's been illegally in Congress this whole time. Moving on. Let me let my cat out before he starts clawing at my floor. Come on, stupid cat. Oh, all righty. There we go. He'll start clawing at the floor. He doesn't care. He's a big fatty. All right. So the Kennedy Center meltdown was nothing short of glorious. The board of the Kennedy Center opted to vote to put Trump's name on it. Their logic is because for years, Democrats and Congress, people who oversaw it, kind of, what would you call it? They kind of destroyed it. It needed updates. It needed, the funding was all jacked up. Trump got that taken care of. So then the first person to come out about all of it was this mental midget here. Her name is Representative Joyce Beatty. Okay. We're going to look into what she has to say because it's hilarious. Give me a sec.
I'm Congresswoman Joyce Beatty. I'm sitting here in my congressional office in Washington, D.C., just ending a call with the Kennedy Center, where I serve as an ex officio member.
Remember that term. She is an ex officio member, okay? Ex officio. Remember that.
Bringing this to you live today because what you may hear is that there was a unanimous vote to rename the Kennedy Center the Trump Center. Be clear, I was on that call, and as I tried to push my button to voice my concern, to ask questions, and certainly not to vote in support of this, I was muted. Each time I tried to speak, I was muted.
I'm going to go with they've been to a theater before, so they just didn't want the noise.
Participants were not allowed to voice their concerns who were online. Yet it was said at the end, it was a unanimous vote. Clearly, the Congress has a say in this. This center, the Kennedy Center, was created by the Congress. I think it's important for us to know that this is just another attempt to evade the law and not let the people have a say. As a strong supporter of the arts, as someone during my entire time here in Congress, I have participated in the Kennedy Center's programs, and I salute all the artists who have performed there.
All right, so there's what she had to say. She was muted. They didn't want to hear nothing from her. I just, based on this video here, I can imagine why that would be. So at the end of the day, we're going to go right into Grok. Let me get this down and bring up Grok. I'm going to show you why I pointed out ex officio, whatever.
I'm
the hell.
Congresswoman
Oh gosh,
Joyce
she's talking
Bailey.
again. See, that's what it would have been like on the phone. So let's take a look here. Let me make sure this is the whole conversation. I'm just looking for the part that I want to show you. Yeah, well, she's mad because they muted her, Rob. It's really, that's what it comes down to. She's like really super upset. I'm looking for, there's a specific, like, oh, right here. Okay. So let me bring X back up. I'm going to show you what Grok said. I want you to see this because that's why I pointed out what she called herself. So he says I'm pretty much spot on because I usually am. Just kidding. Beatty went public right away with her video claiming she was muted and couldn't object or vote through ex officio, though ex officio members like her aren't voting ones anyway. So she doesn't get a vote because she's not technically a part of the board. She's ex officio. Do you see that? Do you see where it says that? Right here. She was muted and couldn't object or vote, though ex officio members like her aren't voting ones anyway. Boom. She can't do a vote. So her saying this, oh, my voice was not heard. My vote did not count. It wasn't a unanimous vote because I wasn't allowed to scream about Trump for 20 minutes straight without being interrupted. So she doesn't even get a vote at all. And you can see that right there. Now, having said that, she's right about one thing. They are supposed to get approval from Congress to vote on things like that because it was an act of Congress to build the Kennedy Center. That is actually correct. We'll see how that plays out. I'm sure they're going to take them to court because that's all the Democrats do all day is look for things to take people to court. Ex officio. Yeah. So they don't get a vote, Rob. It's just ridiculous. So here you go. Here's Steve Cohen, or Cohn, or Khan, whatever his name is, the weird bald guy with really super duper thick glasses. I haven't been in the White House since Trump has been there and won't go, and now I won't go to the Kennedy Center either. And he shares an article. Kennedy Center ticket sales have plummeted since Trump takeover. Nearly 9 months into the president's oversight, sales for orchestra, theater, and dance performances are the worst they've been since the pandemic, according to a Washington Post analysis. Okay, so we're looking at a treasure trove of TDS right here. First, we've got Steve Kahn. We'll just call him Steve Kahn, man. And he says he hasn't been to the White House since Trump's been in there. So what he's telling me is he's putting his own feelings over the people. He has constituents that probably voted for Trump, but he won't even meet with Trump or even step foot in the White House because Trump's in there. Do you see what I'm saying here? This is not a real politician. This is a bitch. And then you see down here where it says, because since Trump's takeover of it, sales have dropped. Well, where is this building located? In Washington, D.C. What is D.C. known for? Well, it used to be a lot of crime, but Trump fixed that, which was bad. Just trying to keep up on everything for you. And then they stopped going to the Kennedy Center to see the things that they claim they love and support because of the fact that Trump got involved and fixed things. This is before he put his name on it, by the way. This article is from October 31st, 2025, long before, 2 months before he put his name on anything. Okay, this is from Halloween. So these people care about the arts unless the building is being overseen by somebody they hate. Then they don't care about the arts. Then they will let it fail. Then they will let these people perform in front of smaller crowds because, Trump bad. So this whole post right here, I can't even believe he even posted it. That's amazing that the TDS is so strong that they have no self-awareness when it comes to things like that. But they don't. So there we are. And we've got this. This is a clip of the same woman who wanted to cry on the phone and was muted. She's on CNN now. It's 1:55. Let's see if we can deal. I might have to turn it off. I don't know.
So let's put up the website again if we can, guys. And I just want to bring people's attention on the top left of your screen. It says the Trump Kennedy Center. They've already changed the website. It's not clear at all that actually the board has the ability legally to rename the Kennedy Center.
She's right.
Former Congressman Joe Kennedy III, the grandnephew of President John F. Kennedy, after whom the Kennedy Center is named, responded on social media saying the Kennedy Center is a living memorial to a fallen president and named for President Kennedy by federal law. It can no sooner be renamed than someone can rename the Lincoln Memorial, no matter what anyone says, unquote. What do you make of the fact that they've already changed the website?
It's funny.
Of course, this is what they do. They have no regard for the rule of law. They're acting as what criminals do. And it's criminal that they are doing this.
Yeah, you have to listen to the laws of Congress and of the Supreme Court, unless you're a Democrat and it has to do with, free school for college kids or things like that. Then you can just get a ruling from the Supreme Court and then find a way around it to avoid the law. Perfectly fine. As long as it's a Democrat avoiding the rule of law, like running for Congress when you don't live in California and then doing all of these psyops to distract from the fact that you guys are criminals, that's fine. You just can't change the name of a building that we like because that's and it gets worse, guys.
Served with Joe Kennedy when I first went on the board. He's absolutely right. They cannot independently, as a handful of self-appointed people who giggled and laughed. The whole board meeting was a mockery of professional boards. There were 10 or 15 minutes where we could hear people laughing and singing jingle bells because they didn't know how to even operate the equipment. The board meeting was held in someone's home, the home of the Wins, that were hosting it. I don't know if they were in their library, the kitchen, or where they were. Typically on a Zoom, you can see the table where the board members are. None of this happened. It was a farce.
She's mad you couldn't see a table.
Farce.
Now you understand why she was muted.
Just as most of the things that they have been doing. It was a dog and pony show to Donald Trump that he had cut down trees. He claimed that the whole Kennedy Center was crumbling and he came in and saved it. It's all very disappointing.
And we should...
Oh, poor baby. And then we've got this here. I've got a few more of these, man. I'm telling you, the meltdowns were spectacular. Look at this. This is Jim Acosta. Remember him? He used to be on TV.
Well, here we are at the scene of yet another crime committed by Donald Trump. He has vandalized the Kennedy Center by putting his name on it. And he just needs to understand that, first of all, he can't do this single-handedly. Only Congress can authorize a change of name to the Kennedy Center. But yet he doesn't care about the law. He doesn't care what is appropriate. He's gone and vandalized the Kennedy Center, which is, we should note, the John F. Kennedy Memorial.
Okay, we should note that the people calling a name being added to the entire name of this building is vandalism. But when people were, burning buildings and spray painting things in Washington, D.C. that are actual national monuments, that was just the freedom of expression. They had the right. They were angry, dude. Some fentanyl addict got stomped in the street by a cop and he died. That's what happened. He didn't overdose on fentanyl. No. This cop put his knee on his neck and killed him, despite evidence. Anyway, so this is vandalism, spray paint, burning things, smashing window. That's protesting. This is vandalism. This is who we're up against, guys.
Center.
If we lose to these people in 2026 because people didn't show up to vote, I'm probably never going to do another new show because I'm going to be so disappointed.
For the performing arts. It was named after President Kennedy after he was assassinated. Donald Trump should show some respect for that. But of course, he doesn't do that. And, this is what needs to be said. We, the American people, are not going to call the Kennedy Center the Trump Kennedy Center.
He's super hurt. I heard through the grapevine, my sources tell me that building there is where Jim Acosta lost his virginity to a man.
Just like we're not going to call the Department of Defense the Department of War, or the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. We, the sane, rational American people, are not going to go along with that. So Trump can act like a child. He can be a vandal, put his name up on all of these buildings, but it's not going to change what the rest of us do in response to what has been a childish and lawless administration.
Yeah. So he used to be on TV, guys. And then we had this meltdown. This is from Maria Shriver. You remember her. She was married to Arnold Schwarzenegger at one point. She has really jacked up teeth. The Kennedy Center was named after my uncle, President John F. Kennedy. It was named in his honor. He was a man who was interested in the arts, interested in culture, interested in education, language, history, just like Trump, actually. Anybody that knows him says he loves all of those things, but okay. He brought the arts into the White House. And he also brought young women into the, very young women into the White House, from what I understand. And he and my Aunt Jackie amplified the arts, celebrated the arts, stood up for the arts and the artists. It is beyond comprehension that this sitting president has sought to rename this great memorial dedicated to President Kennedy. It is beyond wild that he would think adding his name in front of President Kennedy's name is acceptable. It is not. Next thing, perhaps he will want to rename JFK. Rename JFK Airport. That's a good idea, actually. Rename the Lincoln Memorial. We could move that one and put a memorial for Trump there. That would be awesome. She's giving us all kinds of ideas, guys. The Trump Lincoln Memorial. I mean, why not? It makes perfect sense. There's a board that does this, right? The Trump Jefferson Memorial, the Trump Smithsonian. I mean, that would be epic. The list goes on. Can we not see what is happening here? Come on, my fellow Americans, wake up. This is not dignified. This is not funny. This is way beneath the stature of the job. It's downright weird. It's obsessive in a weird way. Just like when you think someone can't stoop any lower, down they go. Right. Like this head made of John F. Kennedy that is made out of cow dung. That's not weird. Anyway, so she melted down, and now we've got two more to look at. Let's see. Oh, yes, here he is. This is the one I've been waiting for, guys. I'm not even going to say anything.
I'm feeling like democracy died today. This is history happening today, and we should all be shocked that a felon, a convicted felon, and a thug, and by all means, a grifter, has just stuck his name on top of a national monument. This is a desecration. I'm feeling like...
And my sources tell me that's the man that Jim Acosta lost his virginity to. I'm just letting you know. So we've got one last one here. We'll take a look at this, and here we go. This is from Carol Levitt. All right, this is just her announcing it, and this is why I'm bringing this up. The building is statutorily named the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts. Congress did not give the board the authority to change the name, and I just wanted to show you that, because that is actually accurate. But there's meltdowns in the comments. Like this one. From Texas Blue, one of the people destroying Texas currently. Yeah. So they had a few meltdowns in the comment section. And then there's also just as many people, if not more people, like right here, supporting Trump. So yeah, it's actually kind of funny. But I just wanted to show you that, because you can go to this post. It's from, when is this from? December 18th, right down here. And it'll be from Carolyn Levitt. I was just informed that the highly respected board of the blah, blah, blah And you can go and you can click this and read the whole law and all that. Just if that's something you're interested in, you can go do that. And it's accurate. It's actually accurate. I mean, Community Notes does an all right job on community noting, but a lot of times, not a lot of times, sometimes they get shit wrong. Now, we've had some job numbers come out for this latest, after the shutdown. We've gotten some job numbers. Let's take a look at this. Because this is how Representative Dan Goldman spins it. Donald Trump can try to gaslight the American people all he wants, but numbers don't lie. The U.S. is in a recession. Unemployment is at a 4-year high, and it's all because of Trump's tariffs and tax cuts for the wealthy. Okay, so there haven't been any tax cuts for the wealthy. You can't sit there and say that tariffs, which end up being paid by the wealthy, not us, FYI. I mean, you know this. I know this. We all know this. You can't say that there's tax cuts for the wealthy when we've raised that. When, if they want to bring an H-1B person over now, they can do a $1 million gold card or whatever it's called, and pay millions of dollars to bring this guy over because he's actually talented type thing. There was no tax break for the wealthy. These are the people, by the way, who were against the OBBB, the One Big Beautiful Bill, who didn't think that people should receive no tax on tips. And just an FYI, I don't remember if I covered this on the last show. There's a number of blue states that are refusing to enforce that. They're not going to, you're still getting, yeah. So there was no tax cuts for the rich. Overtime tax cut, all for people that make, I think it's like 150,000 or less. Where's the rich people? I'm sorry, that's just not accurate. But here we go. Almost no jobs have been added since April. Wage gains are slowing. 710,000 more people are unemployed now versus November 2024. November plus 64,000 jobs. And then we've got right here, this is impacted by the shutdown, the 105, September 108, August 26, blah, 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 blah. Now, what I will tell you is that the amount of jobs, the 64,000 jobs, is higher than what they had expected. So they were actually impressed with this because it was higher than what they were expecting. Now, at the end of the day, what you have to understand about this time last year, we had a lot of people working in government that Biden hired to prop up job numbers. They've all been fired. We are deporting illegals, and they're self-deporting. We're over like 2 million, 3 million. I think we're over 3 million at this point who, between self-deportations and actual deportations, aren't in job roles, the ones that weren't criminals, like full-on criminals. They're all criminals because they crossed illegal, but you get what I'm saying. So that's the spin that they're putting on it. And then you go down to comments, incoming liberal bullshit. And then you go down to comments and right here, it's been a hiring recession since 2023, but nice for you to finally notice now that it's a different president. So, and they are correct. This is correct. But like I said, when you get rid of like 3 million people, I don't know, I'd say about half or less probably were in the workforce on some level. The rest probably criminals, because, Trump didn't say he was only going to deport criminals, bad criminals. He said that he's going to prioritize that, but this would be mass deportations. That's what he ran on, and that's what we're getting. The Democrats like to say otherwise, but I guess they think we're all stupid at this point. About 50 million jobs. This is going to be liberal bullshit. About 50 million jobs have been added since 1989. A staggering 50 million, 98% of the total were created under Democrats. Yeah, and we see how they create them. They just hire a bunch of people into government. You see what I'm saying? And we got 168,000 federal workers gone is what I voted for, and much more over the next 3 years, hopefully. So there you have it. See, that's the reality. This is what I'm trying to tell you. This is private sector jobs up here, and this is government jobs down here. So, yeah, these people are they spin everything. They're mad that all these government jobs are gone. So any good news that we get, they're going to spin. Then we had the Epstein drop. This was fun. This was fun. Brian Tyler Cohen, one of the biggest airhead leftists on the planet, just tried to search for Trump's name in the Epstein files library on the DOJ's website, you'll be shocked to learn, in quotes with shock, that there's no mention of him. He can't even say his name here whatsoever. Look, his name isn't there, guys. No results found. Oh, community notes. The search is not functional at this point. If you searched for the word Epstein, it is also not found by the website. So they haven't even got the search up and running. This is literally from the day that they dropped it. Yeah. So that's hilarious. They're getting that was the first little bit they tried to run with on the whole Epstein drop. Oh, they took his name out of it, everyone. They have no reason to do that. He's not really in them, other than as being mentioned for helping. Then we got OK Magazine, who really, I guess, didn't find anything they found interesting enough, so they went with this. I guess they re-released this maybe, but we've known this for a while. Breaking: Donald Trump's first wife, Ivana, and eldest daughter, Ivanka, are among the names in Jeffrey Epstein's contact list, aka the Little Black Book, per the newly released files. Now, this has been out since I don't even know how long. 2018, 17, somewhere in there when the first drops came out. This was included in there, maybe the second ones. So we've known that was the case. I've said this on multiple shows in the past. Yes, he had family members that were in there. He collected people's names in the book. I don't know why, but he did. He collected people's names. Do you really think that her being as young as she was at the time, that what was she doing? She was renting women? Like, just stop already. So that was a little bit of the nonsense so far, and then we've got this here. I'll make sure to click the attached link so you can see the beauty of this whole nonsense here. There we go. They forgot to delete this one. This is from somebody named Keith Edwards, Democracy Enjoyer. Well, you're not going to enjoy it for long, because hopefully we'll be a constitutional republic soon enough. Do you see this? This is what they're trying to say is an Epstein file. Do you know who this is? That's his daughter. You see how they're doing? Just like the Democrats do with the adult models, right? And what is he melting down about? This. So there were a batch of photos. These came in batches. My guess is that this particular set of photo, or this photo on the right, was taken down not because Trump's in it, but because of the fact that I have a feeling they missed some redactions in the photos. That's in that batch. So they just took the whole batch down and figured out. I don't know if it's been back up because I don't care about this stuff, but I just wanted to show you the hypocrisy. I mean, you'll notice like none of these Democrats are talking about what we're going to get into here. They're only talking about Trump. Only Trump. It's a Clinton story, but we're only talking about Trump. So you can see here, this is a photo of Trump with these models at probably Mar-a-Lago, obviously adults. And obviously the accusation, and a really well-known photo behind it, the accusation is that he's trying to hide something. What's he trying to hide? You already got the screenshot. You can clearly see this woman on his left, our right, is clearly probably, if not over 40, somewhere over 30. I don't know. You can't even see this adult woman's face, who's almost as tall as he is, and Trump's a pretty tall guy. And then there's these two women here, adult women. So what is your problem then? Right? Do you see what I'm saying? It's always about Trump. And then this person points out, this is the same Crescenda zoomed out, showing the frame picture of Trump, Melania, and Epstein. Just checked, and it's still on the website. Boom. So she's saying, look, here, this is still up. What's your problem? Now, the only thing that I don't see here is I don't see the image of him with the models or whatever. I think those are models or something. But whatever. I mean, who gives a shit? It'll be back up. So they melted down about that, and then we see that Donald Trump with Ivanka Trump, his daughter, Aaron, blocked out her face to make it look suspicious. This person calls it out. He got apparently community noted somewhere else for doing that. And then we've got this. This is Thomas Massey. Now, you heard they blocked out a bunch of stuff. I think they did that on purpose. You can see here this person was hidden in the Epstein files because of all the redactions and stuff that they intentionally put to make these people beg for it. And today, I think it was today or late last night, they removed all those redactions. And yeah, nothing burger. So what we're looking at now, this is just how desperate they are. I mean, it's like you can see it all over. It's all about Trump. They don't even. This person here didn't find enough in there soon enough. Maybe he didn't have the attention span to read through all the hundreds of thousands of pages that were released. So he just ran with this New York Times screenshot. Donald Trump's wife told the mother of 14-year-old girl, "Whatever you do, do not let her around any of these men, and especially my husband." Now, here's the rub on that one. I'm trying to find the spot. There we go. I think this is the one. Here you go. So you can see here, I shared that post right up top here. Let me get my mouse moving on here. Right up here. That's the same post we just looked at. What is this screenshot taken from? I said, this screenshot is taken from a New York Times article titled Don's Best Friend, How Epstein and Trump Bonded Over the Pursuit of Women, published on December 18th, 2025. A day before the actual drop, if I'm not mistaken. And where did the information allegedly come from, I asked? The New York Times article on December 18th, 2025 bases its reporting on a combination of sources, interviews with more than 30 people, including former employees of Jeffrey Epstein, victims of his abuse, women who encountered Epstein and Trump socially, and others who worked in their circles and crossed paths with them. Newly obtained documents that illuminate the Trump-Epstein relationship. The article does not specify exact documents, but contrasts them with public records like photos, flight logs, and address books. Previously known public records and statements, such as Trump's 2002 quote about Epstein liking women on the younger side, society photos, and Epstein's own claims and interviews, e.g., telling Michael Wolff he was Trump's closest friend for 10 years, which I think he did intentionally to help Democrats. The article explicitly states it found no evidence, this one that this dude is sharing a single screenshot from, implicating Trump in Epstein's abuse or trafficking of minors, because he only trafficked the minors to himself and abused them himself. He trafficked them when they were of age to other men, supposedly. That's what they say, even the victims. Specific anecdotes like Epstein introducing himself as Don's best friend or accounts of social interactions come primarily from these anonymous or on-background interviews, with some corroborated by named individuals or documents where noted. Marla Maples has denied certain quoted statements attributed to her in related reporting. So there you have it. It was a bunch of bullshit, and he just shared a selective screenshot from the whole article, which later on, I'm sure at the very bottom, admits that there's no evidence that Trump did anything wrong, which we already know. So this right here is what the Epstein drops are really about. And that's why all you're hearing about is Trump from both sides, the fake MAGA influencers and others. That's Bill Clinton right there. That is Ghislaine Maxwell and somebody whose face is blocked out. Now, to be fair, is the GOP playing the same games that the Democrats did just to get revenge? Maybe. Do I feel bad if they did? Nope, not at this point. Don't care. Here he is with Michael Jackson, who everybody likes to believe is not really a pedo. I'm not saying because he hung around with Epstein, who was definitely into girls, that, you know what I'm saying, that means for sure, but I just know more about the case, I guess, that most people. Here is them with, I think is that Oprah Winfrey, maybe? And there's at least 3 children being blocked out here for whatever reason. One could be Michael Jackson's kid. I don't know. And then here's Bill Clinton and Jeffrey Epstein. Here, how come we see Trump's face plastered all over everything in a handful of photos of them two together, but we don't see all these, and we're not gonna. I have a feeling we're not gonna. So, yeah, that's the reality. It's the Clinton files. So, you know, when you ask, even if you were to ask AI right now, you know, did Clinton go to the island? No, the flight logs didn't show him going to the island. And they didn't. Or it'll say, you know, the Secret Service detail never logged him leaving to go to the island or anything like that. But what many people tend to forget about, well, Bill Clinton in general, is this. Let me get it back up. I don't think I bookmarked it, so Had a brain fart there in the middle of typing. So this right here, I find it. Now it's not going to pop up, is it? Yeah, I'm not able to find it now. So I'm going to have to look into my conversations with Karak again, because I know for a fact I put the link in there. Just got to figure out where it is. It came right up when the first time maybe I just typed it better or something. But the long story short of this is that Bill Clinton used to be known for basically evading the Secret Service. He'd find ways to evade them and sneak out. Let me try this. Would that work? Oh, come on. Yeah, I'm not seeing it pop up, which really ticks me off. I really thought I would have saved that, but I didn't. They actually had to change Secret Service protection because of this, but I'm not seeing where where it's talking about Bill Clinton at this point, but there's a whole bunch of articles on this. I'm just obviously not typing the right thing into search right now. I'm getting a lot of stuff about how they failed to protect Trump, though. Yeah. Anyway, I mean, if you're older like me, you probably remember this being the case. He would evade Secret Service. So my logic is despite everybody saying, "Oh, there's no Secret Service logs of him going and all this and that," it's like, okay, but he was known to have been like escaping Secret Service. He would like find ways to escape them and go meet with women. This is according to the Secret Service. So, and what's funny is I'm seeing things about Mar-a-Lago and all this and that, but not Bill Clinton, even though I'm literally typing Bill Clinton. This is what I'm telling you about how they cover shit. So if he did that, if he was evading the Secret Service and going out to cheat on Hillary, which I don't blame him if I'm being honest, then why am I to believe he wouldn't have gone to the island? And why am I to believe that just because he's not on the registry going to the island, that he didn't come to Epstein, who he was clearly good friends with enough to be swimming in his pool and all that, to go, "Hey buddy, listen up. I just snuck out of the White House and ditched the Secret Service detail. Please don't put me on the register for this flight." You know what I'm saying? And do you think Epstein would allow for that? Yeah, I think he would. So I mean, here's a Daily Mail article or New York Post article. Clinton White House was a den of coke mistresses, blah, 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 blah. So, I mean, you're just barely seeing August 6, 2025. They also post a story, The Truth About Bill Clinton's Cozy Friendship with Epstein. But at the end of the day, he would, I don't take any of this at face value. Do I think he went to the island? I'm pretty sure a lot of the victims and so on that were on the island claimed that he wasn't. I'm pretty sure they said that. Having said all that, like, maybe it depends on who was there. Did those girls live on the island? Because there was also girls at his house. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what to think there, guys. All I'm telling you is there's a chance he went, and a chance we'll never know, because they didn't put him on the flight logs. They didn't to the island. They didn't put him on any of the, he wasn't in the Secret Service roster as having gone, because he would evade them. So anyway, they trolled the Democrats with those redacted pages. And even the fake MAGA grifters fell for it. They all hung themselves, and within 24 hours of that, it was a nothing burger. They unredacted them, and they probably already had them unredacted for that very purpose. And within less than a day, they were up, and they all looked stupid. So here's what we've got from Liberal Hive Mind I'll just take a look at this with you really quick. This is what we have found out that you're not going to hear about from anywhere because they're not going to want to talk about it. They're too focused on it being all about Trump when it's about them. And they know it's about them. So this was all crazy to begin with.
Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. And of course, here's your meme of the day, brought to you by 5mind.com. Well, I guess at this point, it's less the Epstein saga, as I've been calling it, and more the inevitable Epstein backfire. Holy frickin' moly, you can feel the panic setting in. You know, once again, we tried to warn the Democrats, this is not what you want. It's not the path that you want to go down. You're not going to get the prize you think you're after here. But of course, when do they ever heed our warnings? No, they doubled down and steamed forward ahead. And now a whole slew of Epstein files have dropped, which of course the left wing was suggesting that this would be the absolute end of Donald Trump. They claim that he and Mike Johnson purposely wanted to keep the government shut down because they did not want to vote on the release of these files. And now here we are, a good chunk have been released, and once again, absolutely nothing, a total nothing burger. There's no dirt on Donald Trump, there's no smoking gun, there's no secret flight logs, no compromising photos. No, instead, what do we get? An absolute treasure trove of Democrat complicity in the Epstein saga. In other words, a full-blown political scandal backfire straight in their damn faces. The boomerang has come back and hit them square between the eyes. Let me show you guys exactly what's going on here.
Remember, I said, year of the boomerang, guys. That's now. It's almost over. What happens when the boomerang comes back and hits them? You know.
We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks. So it appears as though we have yet again another Epstein casualty. And actually, maybe casualty is not the word. That kind of implies innocence. This is less of a casualty and more of a direct co-conspirator who just got totally freaking exposed. Yet again, another Democrat power player, Stacey Plaskett. We've got a damning deposition here that shows Democrat Stacey Plaskett admitted that she knew that Jeffrey Epstein went to the Virgin Islands with, quote, young girls. We also have confirmation that she visited his office in St. Thomas more than once, called him repeatedly, and even went to his home in New York to ask him for campaign cash and DCCC money. And this new revelation comes after Stacey Plaskett told us that she barely even knew the guy. She had no real relationship with him, yet turns out he was bankrolling her entire political career. And again, remember, this isn't the only connection with Stacey Plaskett. What was it, 3 weeks ago? A bombshell was released that exposed the same Democrat, Stacey Plaskett, as being coached by Jeffrey Epstein during that Michael Cohen circus. And now looking at the totality of this, it's obvious what was going on. Stacey Plaskett turned a blind eye to underage human trafficking. She turned a blind eye to the most horrific crimes imaginable, all because Jeffrey Epstein was bankrolling her political career. And in return, it seemed as though he had a whole lot of power over her, right? Through text message communications, being able to steer her line of questioning during that Michael Cohen testimony. I mean, this is some really damning stuff, especially considering the last allegation following the previous Epstein revelation was that supposedly Donald Trump was aware of Epstein's crimes and he turned a blind eye. That was the whole angle of their latest accusation, even though the truth was that Donald Trump did not turn a blind eye at all. He cooperated with federal agencies and even kicked Jeffrey Epstein out of his social club. And of course, the most insulting part is that these are the same people who have been standing on TV pretending to be the moral police, screaming about Donald Trump's ties with Epstein. Donald Trump is connected, and that's why he's refusing to release the files. Now he releases the files, and it's nothing but them. And really, is it any surprise? Of course it isn't. We've known since day one this was a Democrat scandal. And now, of course, who has been exposed so far? It's Larry Summers, Stacey Plaskett, and of course, at the core of all of it, Bill frickin' Clinton. Scott Jennings nailed it.
Scott, don't you think that because they are not releasing everything that Congress and the president signed to say you have to release this in 30 days, doesn't it give more fodder for the conspiracies that exist? I mean, they're not following the law.
Well, look, they've released how many documents tonight? 200,000? More? 400?
10% of that's
okay. So a good faith effort is being made to release files tonight.
Really?
They're obviously doing that. And I think as it relates to redactions, I mean, my impression is that there's a whole lot of names of victims in there and minors and other people that you probably wouldn't want to release, and they do need to be redacted. Regarding Bill Clinton, I'm sorry to tell you, the reason that Bill Clinton's picture is in the Epstein files is because this has always been a story about Bill Clinton and not Donald Trump. We should call it the Clinton files, not the Epstein files. That's what we're learning tonight. This is the Clinton files. This is the blowing up in the face of the Democrats over this. It's Bill Clinton. This is a story about Democrats and Bill Clinton. And it's been that.
Exactly. Of course. That's really the part that we've been repeating over and over again because it's basically what blows up the whole phony scandal, this whole Democrat forced Epstein narrative. If there was ever anything real on Donald Trump, anything substantive on Trump, you would have seen it years ago. They exercised every single option. They didn't care about discretion, tradition. Of course they didn't. They were engaging in shadow coups to unseat a president. You think if they had an Epstein bombshell, they wouldn't have weaponized it and used it against President Trump? Of course they would. We would have been hearing about this stuff back in 2016. I mean, that's really when the whole Epstein thing blew up following the Podesta pizza emails. They had every incentive. They had full control of all the federal agencies, and their number one goal was to stop Donald Trump at any and all cost, and yet they never used the Epstein files. That's because there's no anti-Trump smoking gun in the Epstein files. And yet despite this, they're still continuing to try to convince us otherwise. I mean, the pathetic smear attempts on social media right now are just so utterly disgusting and dishonest. We've got massive left-wing accounts that are all circulating this Mar-a-Lago clip of Donald Trump surrounded by women.
Are you ready? You ready? You like it? You sure? Okay. On her way to work one morning, down the path along the lake, a tender-hearted woman saw a poor, half-frozen snake. His pretty-colored skin had been all frosted with the dew. "Oh, well," she cried, "I'll take you in, and I'll take care of you. Take me in, oh tender woman. Take me in, for heaven's sake. Take me in, oh tender woman," sighed the broken snake.
And so many leftoids are trying to insinuate that there's something sinister about that clip. We've got this account on X, Ethical American. Then he proceeds to do the most unethical thing imaginable, posting the video and saying, "I see Donald Trump with his hands all over, quote, young girls. I don't see Bill Clinton doing that. Don't let the pedophiles deceive you. Donald Trump is directly involved in the trafficking of minors for sexual assault." Yeah, except there's only one problem with that. First of all, this isn't a new video. It's not some brand new damning drop from the Epstein estate. This is the oldest Trump Epstein video from the 1990s. It's been circulating around for years. And all of those women, from what I understand, are cheerleaders and models, who all of which are over 20 years old. Yet Democrats are pushing the clip over and over again, insinuating that this now connects Donald Trump to Epstein's human trafficking crimes. Oh, and how could I forget they're also pushing this AI photo of Donald Trump with Epstein and what appears to be a young girl. But I mean, just zoom into Epstein's face and you could tell in about 5 seconds that's an AI generated photo. I mean, just a disgusting, despicable, dishonest smear campaign. It's obvious actually that the story is theirs, and so instead they're trying to flip it. They're trying to manufacture a scandal that doesn't exist. But the only scandal that I see is, again, Bill Clinton and his very cozy ties to Jeffrey Epstein. A lot of photos with him and actual young girls, photos of him at Jeffrey Epstein's estate, and the Stacey Plaskett deposition. I mean, just disgusting. Again, we're being morally lectured by these Democrats who turned a blind eye to underage human trafficking because they felt as though they could have used Epstein as an intelligence asset in their quest to destroy Donald Trump. I mean, just disgusting, but obviously par for the course with these Democrats. Anyways, that's what I got for you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.
There you have it. And that's pretty spot on, I'd say. That's pretty spot on. So we covered last week, we covered last show, the Brown shooter, and I said, you know, I'm not really sure after looking at the live on air. I'm like, I'm not really sure 0 Hour's right about that being the guy when you know, this looks a little different than the other photo I saw, the video I saw. But here's what actually ended up happening. Apparently, oops, that's the wrong one. Apparently, and this is according to a reporter here, they could have had more cameras, but due to sanctuary city laws, there were way less than there should have been. Take a listen to this exchange here.
The camera in that building, they Brown put up because the sanctuary city law that we have. You don't want to recall illegal immigrants, and you don't want to provide the footage to the FBI or immigration authority. One camera in that building, it come out from your detectives, they're friends of mine, they're angry at this investigation, that these people in Brown University put the camera up they can identify the person.
Now, I know he's hard to understand, but he said, because of sanctuary city laws, there were no cameras there because you don't want to record illegal aliens. Very heavy accent.
You imagine how the family want to go through? Tell the truth to the media here. You guys can start putting cameras off.
We heard from both the Brown Police Chief and the Provost of Brown.
The camera in that building,
So there you have it. They did not look happy that revelation came out. And this police chief here talks about, just like that reporter, is absolutely insane in this country. I don't know what the hell's going on in these places. But then we had this. This is how stupid people are. Okay? Kash Patel's FBI caught searching by kicking snow. Now, I need you to understand. Look, and they're making all these fucking sheep down in the comments. Probably paid, some of them, to leave stupid fucking comments. But at the end of the day, this is an actual normal police procedure. If you need proof, I can show you. Let me show you. I don't understand how nobody's seen that before, I guess is my problem. I've seen it before many, many times with regular cops too, when they're looking for somebody that's missing and so on, or after a crime when there's fresh snow. Here you go, right here. The FBI is seen kicking snow at Brown University, and I asked Rock, already knowing, is this normal procedure for any part of an investigation? He said, yes, the footage of FBI agents kicking or shoveling through snow at and near Brown University is part of real ongoing investigations into a mass shooting that occurred, killing 2 students, blah, 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 blah. Is this normal procedure? Yes, this is standard low-tech method of crime scene investigations when dealing with light snow cover in outdoor areas. Law enforcement often uses foot searches, sometimes called line searches or grid searches, to visually scan and gently disturb surface layers without heavy equipment that could damage the evidence. So this retard here doesn't know that. I am guessing a lot of people don't know that. Now, what bothers me the most about this is that the FBI shouldn't even have been there. If the cops had done their job and there was cameras and stuff, and they had showed up on time and they'd have handled it properly, that guy would have been caught then and wouldn't have went on to kill the MIT professor who was working on some kind of clean energy that would, I don't know, man. It's a weird story, for real. And then he killed himself. But all of the rest that came after this shooting could have been prevented had the cops done their job. So the FBI's there, and it turns out none of them caught the guy, but a homeless man's tip brought the guy down. A homeless man's tip on Reddit that he then reported to the right channels and then got interviewed, and turns out he helped them find him. And he was an immigrant or illegal, I don't know, visa immigrant, I don't know. Wasn't a really American that killed him. And then they were like, oh, MAGA influencers said. So here is the cops who didn't bust the case wide open, getting a standing ovation.
A few moments ago, Providence Mayor Brett Smiley and Chief of Police Colonel Oscar Perez were recognized along with the first responders who assisted in response to the Brown University shooting last week.
So these guys got a standing ovation. As this person points out, there are no standing ovations in law enforcement. For those who may be wondering, normal law enforcement personnel don't stand and accept praise for doing their job, especially when how the job was done resulted in a second murder. 3 are dead, and Mayor Smiley and Chief Perez are literally smiling and bowing. You will not see street FBI agent doing anything like this. I guarantee the FBI is relieved that a homeless Good Samaritan came forward to make the case. The FBI agents involved in this are sick. In this are sick. They didn't apprehend Claudio Valentin before he could kill another. Remember, Claudio Valentin chose to give up by killing himself. It wasn't like LE approached him. This turns my stomach. What must Dr. Lorio, I don't know how to say that dude's name, relatives think? 3 murders turned into some sort of political campaign from the word go. So they got all this attention for not actually cracking the case. It was a homeless guy. All because they're clear leftists who support leftist policies and are in law enforcement. So then you heard about the Democrats' big win. I wanted to cover that really quick for you because you may not have heard the truth about it. In Kentucky, So here you've got popular liberal. He says, wow, Kentucky just turned a blue district. Trump won by 30 special election. Democrat Gary Clemens, union steelworker, Army vet, flipped a ruby red state Senate seat the GOP held for 25 years. No amount of Trump rallies, dark money, or rigged screams could stop the exodus. I don't know what that even means. Democrats aren't just knocking on red doors, we're kicking them down. Yeah, I wish you would. See what happens. We're contesting every zip code, and no matter how unwinnable, and it's working. Voters are done with lies, gaslighting, and circus police. Now, keep in mind, this is coming from the party that's in the low 20s for approval rating. But there's been a little context added. The Post celebrates Democrat Gary Clemens' 73-25 landslide in Kentucky Senate District 37 special election, but mischaracterizes it as flipping a Republican-held seat. The district has been Democratic-controlled for over 25 years, vacated by Democrat David Yates. So a Democrat won another Democrat seat in a landslide. This isn't a big win. They tried to sell it as a big win. It's all psychological operations on you to make you feel like there's no point in showing up next year. You need to understand what you're looking at, because we are winning. I mean, by now you've heard about this. This old fat wench, she's going to jail, probably federal prison. But she was found guilty of obstructing justice when she helped that illegal sneak out the back and so on. Liberals are now also crying about this right here. The Trump administration has now ordered airports around the country to turn over passenger lists to ICE. These are not just lists of criminals or immigrants. They're of all passengers, period. This is now basically a checkpoint. Just like they have on roadways all over. Gestapo. So this has been happening since March, and they are now melting about this. This has been happening since March. This has been going on since March. They're actually working with TSA, who identifies whether or not said person is an actual legal citizen. TSA contacts them and turns them in. They're not getting access to everybody. TSA already has access to that information. That's how you're allowed to fly and not allowed to fly. So it's more gaslighting on something that's months old. I mean, it was from about 2 months after he took office, they started doing this, and now they're just talking about it. And of course, the Democrats are melting about affordability. It's all they've got. We're paying lower prices for gas, rent's going down, home prices are going down. This right here, Trump promised lower costs. One day one, she says. One day one. The smartest Indian on earth. One day one. I think she meant on day one, but he said, on day one, I'll do this. And we all knew that he meant he would start working on day one, not. Anyway, but CPI data shows that inflation is still higher than when he started his chaotic trade war in April. Donald Trump is standing in the way of lower prices for you. No, he's not. Inflation is up 2.7 over the last 6 years, despite Trump's claims that prices are down. And then she shares this article from where? Of course, The Independent. And nobody's on her side. Nobody's on her side. And this is from Hollywood Resistance. Expected inflation, and this is the key point. They expected, because of tariffs and all this and that, the inflation would go up to 3.1. Instead, it's down to 2.7. And then they got some other charts here. Average. And then it shows Biden, and then it shows where we're at. There's a little spike right here. Little bit of a spike to right here. And that is, we'll see what happens, right? But inflation drops to the lowest level in months, defying expectations of uptick. And that's from December 18th, 2025. She's posting this bullshit on December 18th, 2025. And that is from ABC News, because they don't want to get sued again. But yeah, they're telling the truth. It's lower than what everybody expected, but we're supposed to say this is bad news. So yeah, and then the Fed chair lowered the rates. So yeah, I mean, look at this. I mean, it's just nonstop gaslighting. We've got this, that's what I just showed you. I think this is another one. Come on. Why is this acting so stupid? So this is copy. There we go. Let me get that on there for you. This is what we're looking at right here. The so-called Supercore Services inflation gauge, which strips out food, energy, and housing, was up 2.7 on year in November. That's the lowest reading since inflation started exploding back in the spring of 2021. In fact, that's a reading that wouldn't have appeared out of place back in pre-COVID times. So we're heading back to pre-COVID times. And why would they strip out food, energy, and housing? Well, we're still in the middle. I mean, housing's coming down, as I said. That's just a fact. But they would strip that out just for core prices of things, instead of adding it all in. Like, for example, with food, I've shown you how it's not inflation or tariffs or anything that's raising the cost of meat. It's the lack of ranchers and so on. And then when they show their examples of what exactly is costing us so much more, here it is. Let's take a look. Color changing tape, up 114%. Tamagotchi picks. Nobody is getting these for their kids anymore, I don't think. Like, my kids haven't asked for these for years. VTech Kitty Zoom camera. Like, who? What? Every kid's got a cell phone, bro. JB Clip 4 speaker. JBL Clip 4 speaker. Owala Free Sip is up. Like, do you see the shit? They're like cherry picking. Melissa and Doug stainless steel tea set. It's probably got freaking poison in it. LCD drawing tablet, just generic LCD. Animated Kissy the Penguin. Okay. Wooden figure and train set. Push around buggy. No brand given whatsoever. Mazzari solid gold. Hoop earrings are up 50%. Lego icons, flower, centerpiece. All right. Instant Vortex air fryer. Okay. Cerex fish and fish pitcher. What? Wallaroo Hat Company Traveler Sun Hat is up. Like, do you see what I'm talking about? Like, please don't get me any of this for Christmas. Sony camcorder. I've got a camcorder for when I was podcasting out on the street type things. But ain't nobody buying this type of thing for any other purpose usually, because they all have it on their phones. Trusco toolbox. Never even heard of Trusco. Mineral back stretcher. Okay. Casio digital watch. Please get me a Casio digital watch. I want to feel like it's 1989 again. And a Cooper cooler, whatever the hell that is. This is what they're complaining about. These cherry-picked items that nobody is even gonna. I can guarantee there's not very many of those on any Christmas wish lists coming out right now. Please get me a camera, a Kitty VTech Kid Zoom. Shut up. So, as you know, prices for energy is coming down. It's gas right away, and everything else will come over time. You know, it takes time to fix what we've done. So Governor Wes Moore of Maryland has decided he knows that's coming. So what he's doing is he's putting out a video that says the president's big, beautiful bill will drive up energy prices even more, plain and simple. But in Maryland, we're not just going to complain about it. We're going to actually address energy affordability crisis. Listen to this bullshit.
This Trump-Vance administration seems absolutely hell-bent on blocking clean energy projects, when it's actually the clean energy projects that have the greatest potential to expand capacity, and doing it cheaply and doing it quickly.
That's false. And what it has the capacity, what green energy has is a way for them to grift money. And we found this out over and over and over. So what he's trying to do, what he knows is going to happen is prices are going to come down, because these people know full well the things that Trump are doing are going to lower prices for energy, procuring more oil, so on and so forth. This is all going to lower energy, and not just oil, but natural gas and all that. They're going to start grabbing all of that, and they're going to notice the price differences, because all of these similar things, coal and all that, are all used to get you electricity. So what they're going to do is they know this is going to happen, so they're going to put up some more windmills and stuff that they can grift off of and fill their own pockets. That's a funny face he's making. And fill their own pockets through the grift. And then what's going to happen is the prices are going to come down. They were already going to come down. And you can say, look what I did. Wow, they've stolen who knows how much from the taxpayers, building a bunch of garbage in the hillsides. So, I mean, and then with the affordability thing, you got somebody like this just so disingenuous. Like this right here. We know that why meat prices are high. This guy goes to Walmart and goes for one of the most expensive cuts of meat. It won't play now. I wonder if he took it down because everybody was like, you're an idiot. Anyway, he shows 3 basic ribeye steaks at Walmart, now costing over $75. Ribeye is always expensive. It always has been expensive, and it always will be expensive. Like, I just don't understand. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. That's weird. But I mean, those are nice big cuts of meat. That's $25 a pop for a big old cut of meat like that. It's about what you pay at a steakhouse for one that big. It's always been that way. It's expensive to eat steak. I mean, for real. It just is. Steak is always the more expensive meat. You can buy hamburger all day long for a pretty decent price. So now they've resorted to as well. The other day, Trump, he came out. He said, look, we got prices coming down on a bunch more drugs. It's going to be great. Everybody's going to be paying less. It's the first world favor or whatever the hell it's called. So this guy says Donald Trump has canceled the $35 a month insulin cap, and now Obamacare. Prices are expected to almost instantly go back up to $1,500 a month for 20 million people. Insulin costs $2 to make. This is a community note. I'm like, what is he talking about? This guy's on crack. President Trump did not cancel the program to bring lower insulin prices that was Biden, who then put it back, by the way. The primary nationwide program is for lower insulin prices in Medicare remains intact and not canceled by Trump. Do you see how desperate these people are? That has 1.3 million views. How many of those 1.3 million people believe that? And I told you fraud's up next. You've heard about Georgia by now. There's going to be some action in that area, I do believe. They found over 300,000 votes that were not properly handled but counted anyway, not signed, not handled properly. And this is in a state where Trump lost only by 11,000 some votes. Fani Willis was just dragged into court. She made an ass out of herself. Now, if you recall, she's the one that took Trump to court for saying, hey, where's all these missing votes that we're showing on our end? Can you find those for me? Something's up. And that was election meddling. But since, all these people are in trouble for election meddling, we can't forget about our buddy, Dr. Evil, Mark Kelly. He just found out, this was on December 17th, that he's under investigation by the Navy.
Surprised by the answer. The DOD reached out to you at all as part of their last thing I heard from DOD regarding the person in 2011 when it retired from the United States and was given the Legion of Merit for my service. So again, yeah, this is all a bunch of issue. And the reason why, I think, is because this is just about sending a message to retired service members, active duty service members, government employees. Do not speak out against this president or there will be consequences. So it's a lot bigger than, just dealing with
his body language with the arms crossed and stuff. That tells me that's kind of defensive. He's definitely nervous. His face does not look as tough as his words sound either, if you look.
That's why they don't handle this professionally. Like you would expect that.
He actually looks like he's about to cry. Anyway, we don't gotta listen to any more from that idiot. But you see what I'm talking about. So he's being investigated, and he should be. That we all know what that video was that they put out. They keep catching migrants committing fraud all around the country. The latest being almost $10 million in fraud from one store. In Massachusetts, these stores are everywhere. 1 out of 7 people in Massachusetts receive SNAP benefits, the highest among any state. EBT is used for cigarettes and alcohol and traded for drugs. Hundreds of millions of dollars in fraud occurs each year in Massachusetts its way. Grocery stores are accepting 3 or 4 EBT cards in one transaction. And these are all migrants. Drug dealers are being paid with EBT. Take a listen to this.
Massachusetts are charging 2 Haitian men with SNAP fraud now, totaling over $7 million. State officials say the 2 men pulled off the scheme by using small storefronts to redeem SNAP benefits up to $500,000 per month. If convicted, they face up to 5 years in prison, supervised release, and fines. Meanwhile, in Colorado, the Department of Housing and Urban Development is investigating the state's federal Massachusetts.
Then we got this. They have found and arrested even more Somali fraudsters than the amount of money that has been stolen is up to now $9 billion of your hard-earned money. Just gone. They scammed everything from senior living centers to autistic kids to feeding our children. These people are scum. And the average IQ is in the 60s in Somalia, and yet they managed to outsmart the Democrats in charge in Minnesota. If that tells you anything, you know.
Federal prosecutors, Dana, in Minnesota have been warning and still warning that we're looking at the tip of the iceberg in terms of the extent of this fraud in Minnesota. As you mentioned, 6 new indictments and 1 guilty plea were announced yesterday as federal agents executed a search warrant on Ultimate Home Health Services, a Somali-owned home care agency. The new indictment zeroes in on the autism program called Early Intensive Developmental and Behavioral Intervention, or EIDBI, and zeroed in on housing stabilization programs. In the case of the housing stabilization programs, the Assistant U.S. Attorney Joe Thompson says defendants claim to provide housing assistance to people with mental illness or drug and alcohol problems, and they say the defendants submitted claims, provided no service. Thompson used the term fraud tourism, claiming 2 men from Philadelphia learned there was easy money in Minnesota, so they flew into the state, set up shop, and started billing the government. As far as defrauding the autism programs, Thompson introduced 1 new case of a defendant recruiting parents, getting bogus documents for a diagnosis of autism for the child. The parents would then get a kickback from the money intended to treat the autistic child.
We're seeing is programs that are just entirely fraudulent. These aren't companies that are providing some services but overbilling Medicare or Medicaid. These are companies that are providing essentially no services. They're essentially shell companies created to defraud the program, created to submit on a wholesale level.
Now the housing.
So you get the gist. $9 billion gone. It's just crazy, guys. And then we've got this. We're not going to watch this whole video. It's 16 minutes long. But let's take a look at it regardless because it's important. It's important. Federal authorities in Colorado announced RICO indictments against 2 alleged Trende Aragua members.
Good afternoon. I'm Peter McNeely, the United States Attorney for the District of Colorado. I'm joined today by Acting Special Agent in charge of FBI Denver's Field Division, Marv Massey, and by Ron Thomas, the Chief of Denver Police Department. We are proud to announce the next chapter in our campaign to eliminate Trende Aragua in Colorado and the United States.
Isn't it interesting? That's all we needed to hear, right? Isn't it interesting that that's what we're seeing happen in Colorado when everybody in Colorado that had any like kind of power claimed that wasn't even a thing that was happening when Trump called it out. But now they're actually arresting them and charging them with things like RICO. And then to top things off, it came out that, again, Trump was right. Washington, D.C. was fudging the numbers on crime. Here's the police chief resigning after those allegations. Listen to this nonsense closely.
Never would I compromise my integrity. Never would I compromise 28 years in law enforcement for a few folk who couldn't stand to be held accountable. And if I had to do it all over again, I'd do it again.
Do what again? Fudge the numbers? And what was with the clapping? I don't know. I watched Planet of the Apes the other day.
So I'm going to the Bible when I say this to my haters. F you.
Ooh.
The same folks who said in that report that they changed their numbers, and I did not. The report is very clear. I did not direct anyone. You should investigate those folks.
So you have it. There's part of her little meltdown. So that is it, guys. That's what I got for you today. It is a shit show out there. Easily debunked most of it. I'm pretty sure they're going to let out more Epstein files. I don't care. I so don't care about the Epstein files anymore, guys. I mean, you know, I used to believe, like I said, there's this big vacuum of information that needed to be filled. The internet did it. And so far, all that we found out is that he has a Mossad t-shirt in his closet, which could indicate that he was working with the Mossad. I'm sure they give out t-shirts to their agents because that makes sense. But anyway, at the end of the day, that is something that may be true if we're going to base it off a t-shirt. But at the end of the day, like we know everything we need to know. The high profile people, according to the victims, didn't do the child trafficking thing. It was Epstein. When Pam Bondi pointed this out, MAGA influencers and the left attacked her for saying this. The videos were all of Epstein and stuff that he downloaded. I believe that. That's how weirdos are, right? So we'll see what happens with it. I'm not even interested anymore about that. What I want to see is what's going on that matters. And what matters is prices are coming down. Depending on where you live. I mean, if you're in a blue state, I'm in a blue state, but prices are coming down here pretty decent. But I mean, I had a damn picture of a giant TV that I got a picture of at Walmart the other night when we were out shopping, and I accidentally deleted it off my desktop. It was only for 300 something, but I was shocked to find out that it's not just Walmart. We went to a place called Myers, which is a smaller version of Walmart, less reach. And they had them for about the same price, same size, different brand. So I don't want to hear how anybody tell me that it's tariffs doing it. I can see everything as even under Biden, it's about the same price for some stuff. Like collectible toy. I like to collect stuff for movies for my collection, for the living room around the TV and stuff. Those are about the same price. They're not higher. Some of them are actually lower or clearance right now. But those are always generally kind of, depending on the type that you're buying, are kind of expensive. And I was looking at those like, well, those are mostly all made in China. They're all about the same price they've always been, even under Trump's first term. Nothing's changed. Stuff got more expensive under Biden because he made a lot of bad decisions. And then when we were paying more to transport it with fuel, you're smart enough to understand that makes the price go up on your shelf. These tariffs aren't doing that. They never have. We ran off tariffs for the majority of this country's existence. And I think we're heading back to just ending up going back to tariffs and getting rid of tax on your work. But anyway, guys, that's my end rant there. Y'all have a great night. I will see you again after Christmas sometime. And I hope you all have a wonderful one and enjoy it with the people you love.